Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 78 entitled Matrix, Different Reality or Different Realities. Well, this is the third video even if all of them are independent. Today we're gonna talk about biases, okay? Cognitive bias or biases, okay? What is that? Concretely, a bias is a kind of filter, is a kind of color, or it is something, a veil impeding or let's say obstructing, altering your reality, your perception, your vision, and so on. I could see it or take a metaphor of a color, okay? If you wear sunglasses, okay, yellow sunglasses, the blue sky would be green. Is the same principle. Well, there are a lot of them. There are 250 roughly, okay? So they are just creating a kind of distortion of reality. But what's real? What's reality concretely? Is there one reality or different realities? Is there an objectivity or different subjectivities? Okay, the first one is the sensitive bias, okay? It's the perception due to your senses, the 5 senses. This is the metaphor of the elephants, okay? This is a legend saying that a king tried to make a game with 5 blind people, okay? So all of them, they touch an elephant. The first one think by touching the belly that this is a wall. The second one by touching the trunk that it is a vine, okay? The third one touch the ivory and think it is a javelin, okay? The fourth one touch the ear and think is a banana leaf. And the last one touch the leg and think it is a tree. Who's right? All of them are in the darkness, okay? All of them are wrong. It was an elephant. So according to the point of view and the feeling, it's different realities, okay? All of them are wrong and no one is right at this time, okay? If you watch a porn with X-rays, do you think it would be as exciting, okay? Because it's not the same colors and so on. It's more a joke than anything else serious. The vision of a dog is more like almond, okay? Is completely curved and really different from ours. From the cats is blurred, but they have large, let's say, a sense of the smell. We give food with my wife and my baby every day to cat streets, sorry. Once we put the food on the floor, even if they are at 100 meters or even further, they arrive by running immediately. Okay, so they really have the smell much more developed than us. For a colorblind, let's say, you know, the traffic light, it's the same color. It's a kind of red, okay, magenta, something like this. It's not the reality. Okay, but what is your real yellow? Your yellow is the same than mine? This is a question mark. We don't know. Okay, it's more a game, but in 2015 there was it was on the viral on the social network with the dress. I invite you to type the dress on internet to take the picture. And actually, there were two schools. Okay, some people were perceived as in black and blue, and other people in white and gold. Personally, I was not one of them. I was perceiving it blue and golden. Okay, so not one of the two camps, a little bit of both. Okay, and I could never see it's black. Okay, anyway, let's go further. A cerebral bias or neuronal bias, okay? It's the notion of brain waves variation, okay? You know, we are like a tuner, okay? FM music of your radio, MW, for example, you can catch sport and news for LW, okay? So, for example, when you're awake, when you sleep, when you are meditating and so on. wave delta from 0.1 to 3 Hertz is sleep. Theta is 4.7 Hertz, meditation intuition. Alpha 8 to 15 Hertz, relaxation, visualization. Beta, concentration. Gamma, expansion of consciousness. Okay, and lucidity. Okay, if you sleep on your sofa and your dog is licking you, and you are dreaming that you are having a wonderful kiss with a beautiful creature, actually, this is like superposition of realities. But what is real at the end? When you wake up, you understand probably better, but it's more joke. Linguistic bias, okay? Very important. The form and the content. The form is the sound. The content is the meaning. Actually, you know, it's like when you have a sustained language, like, you know, very high level language. Actually, some people could think, he's a bourgeois, or is an intellectual, and or is a scholar, or is showing off, and so on, so on. According to your perception, if you are not confident and you don't have a lot of vocabulary and so on, maybe you will be you will do a complex of inferiority. If someone is using the slang, some people will see as familiar, accessible, or vulgar, or uneducated, and so on and so forth. For the form, you know, if you say to you with a nice voice to your cat, for example, little asshole, and so on, with a very, you know, very nice, you think he will see that you are insulting it? No, he will just perceive with the tone, actually. Same if you say with an aggressive voice, I love you! You know, he will be scared, and he will disappear probably. You know, some people have a lack of tact and also delicacy, okay? So, and other people are quite susceptible, okay, picky. So both combining creates problem of communication. You know, the languages in the Babel Tower, in the legends, is when the humans are so egotic that they try to build a tower to touch and to flirt with the sky, to be higher than God, and so on. And then he destroyed it, and he spread over the planet the different people, and creating the language to, let's say, not to lose people, but for them to try to adhere to unity and harmony through the differences. Okay, because it's so easy to be in harmony and to be in the unity with your community, with your family, with people that you appreciate, you have the same centers of interests. Okay, there are also, regarding the form, some homonyms or double meanings or fake friends and or language of birds. Okay, so for example, if you say, oh, I want a bitch. Oh, you want to go to La Playa? You want some holidays? Or you want an affair? You will catch what I say. If my kid is going home and and I say, beaucoup mouillé. Beaucoup mouillé means in French, you're really wet. Okay, but in the language of my wife, in Turkish, it means eat my poo. You see, it's different perception. The USSR national anthem, not the current one, USSR, when you listen, and there is a funny one that you can find on internet if you're a French speaker, actually there is sentences, each sentence we can consider it's a French meaning. This is, okay, it does make sense, it's making laughing sometimes, is average, okay, but it's really weird. You know, it's like the false friends. You know, for example, azar in Portuguese means bad luck. In hazard in English means danger, right? And hasard in French means actually random. So in the three different meanings, this is the same sound, the same origins, but the different perspective, perception, and not the same, let's say, paths. You have a lot like this. When you say to have an affair in English, it's let's say liaison is you know, when you cheat, okay? But a relationship. But in an affair in French means business, okay? When you have arguments, it means a dispute, but it's an opinion in French, okay? So when you say to abuse in French, abuser means just to take an advantage, okay? To accommodate in French, accommoder means to prepare, okay? To achieve in French, achever means to complete. And actually doesn't mean actuellement. Actuellement means at present, okay? So, and all these words are coming from French, Old French, because 30% of English is coming from French, Old French, okay? So, but just the perception change through the time. Okay, the language of bird, what is it concretely? This is the mystical language, is what we call also the green language. You have a sound for the mass, the massive, let's say, spread for most of people, and then there is a hidden sound. I give you some example. It's time to wake up, the wake up, to open up the Holy Grail deep inside you. So wake up, the way of the cup for the Holy Grail, for example. Another one. The majestic genie in the bottle stands for a majestic, making your dreams come true. Majestic and magic stick, okay? Realize with real eyes the realize, for example. Life is a masterpiece for which we are invited to master each piece to reach unity. Okay, unity, Y-O-U. So I play with masterpiece, like in art, okay, masterpiece, like a piece, peaceful, and masterpiece, to master, to gather the different pieces of the puzzle game, okay, like this. When I wrote the book, and I invite you to read it, synthesis of Saint Theses is full of them, okay? So it's for free, by the way. I give you, and also this is what we call koans. Koan is, you have different layers of perception for each sentences. For example, one of them, the title is Speculative Bubble. Happiness sometimes seems like a soap bubble. Difficult to seize because it's hard to understand, but also perilous trying to grab it. Because seize something, it's either understanding or to grab, okay? And same for happiness, like a soap bubble. Another one, wonderful, wonder, like wonder, I wonder, you know, I wonder, I walk randomly. Wonderful is not wonderful, is wonderful, an amazing maze. So here it is. Life is like an amazing maze in which no one wants to find the way out. We view it in a binary way, right or wrong, left. The solution may be to rise to a wider perspective by taking more half. But anyway, there is different like this, like deaf, okay, when you cannot hear, and deaf to the silence of death, okay, when you passed away. For the content, for languages, by the choice of the words, some people are poor in communication, and that's why it's so important the empathy and the non-violent communication, for which we will have a video especially for that. The number of words, if you only manage 600 words or 1000 words, you are limited to express yourself. You cannot balance some specific delicate words and so on. And also some words don't exist in certain languages. For example, white is black and white, and white is white, right? Or écru maybe in English. But for Eskimos, in Greenland, they have 20 ways of saying white, because the white is everywhere, it's prevalent. Same for snow. Snow is snow and snow, that's it. Okay, for them they have 20. You know, it's like the clouds. You can say, if you are an expert, you can say it's nimbus, cumulonimbus, and so on. Okay, there is different for representing different shapes. Is the same, okay? How do you say microwave or mobile phone in Latin? doesn't exist because at this epoch it was none. Okay. In French, there is no word for successful. It's to get success, but the adjective doesn't exist. So probably the reason why French people are less successful than English speaker. Why not? Okay, it can affect your mind. Democracy in China is almost useless because it's politically incorrect. Politics, political is forbidden words in China. When I arrived in China, I lived there 10 years, I managed 4,000 words. And a lot of them, they were ignored or forbidden almost. A word in Portuguese is saudade. Saudade is a kind of nostalgia, okay? But it's more specific to Portugal, the empire of Lusidades, the golden past of the discoveries with Camões, Fernando Pessoa, and so on, the literature and so on. And this is absolutely not, because in Brazil they speak Portuguese, they have a different accent, but saudade would be the same, but only nostalgia is not the nostalgia of the past of the Portugal. Because in Brazil, they have their identity, okay? So, it doesn't exist. There are lots like this. Dor in Romanian means a lack of someone or something mixed with a bitter feeling and a sweet feeling, okay? Igelig, in Danish, it means something very warm, some comfortable with the fireplace and so on. It's like cocooning, but it doesn't exist in other languages. In Swedish, gökota means to wake up early and walk on the nature and to hear the first bird songs, for instance. Shinrin yoku in Japanese, it means the relaxation due to the contact with nature. And by the way, there is a philosophy, a science of this, which is the fact to embrace, to hug the trees and to get the energy and so on of the forests. There is several like this. Merak, for example, comes from Arabic, but in a spiritual way in Turkish, it means the connection, the feeling of fulfillment, unity, but something transcendental, like spiritual. Same for Jezbe. Jezbe, it's the divine connection. Okay, you have some way of turning words and so on that doesn't exist in different languages. That's why it will be difficult for translating. When you say in Spanish zito, cafecito means a small coffee. Okay, but small coffee is not because it's just a friendly word. Okay, a coffee, a cafecito means it's a nice way to say. So it's impossible to translate. It's the equivalent in Portuguese is inho. When you say cafezinho or Ronaldinho or obrigado means thank you. Okay, obrigadinho means a friendly thanks. Okay. Well, anyway, and you have different like this. In the book, the dictatorship of goodness. Actually, this is dystopia in 30 years, and they recreated a kind of Esperanto 2.0, for which they took different languages. There is only 666 words, so limited, because they squeeze all the negative words, for which it was 80% of the words and 20% remaining. And in addition of that, the first personal, the pronoun I do something is forbidden. Only we or one. One does something. We do something. But I is banned, is forbidden. Because the individuality is perceived as egoist, and also they don't want organization and so on with individuality. For instance, they squeeze all the notion of temps, like the past, the future, and so on. Okay, like this is a present, a perpetual present. Like this is a void, conspiracy, organization, coup, and so on so far. But actually, this is, you know, in Mandarin, in Bahasa, in Indonesian, Malaysian, and so on, is the same. There is no grammar, almost like this. When you say, well, in English is a little bit different because there is almost no conjugation, but tomorrow I go, okay, like I will go, okay. Well, anyway. The grammatical structure affects our way of thinking, our mindsets. For example, in German, and I always say that because I worked 5 years for a big giant group, German group, for which I was going every month there in Düsseldorf, and I always say to them, most of the sentences are subordinate. Okay, I think that's great, and so on. But when you use that, ich denke das, and the verb is at the end. Ich glaube das, I think, I believe, and so on. The verb is at the end. The verb refers to the meaning of the sentence. If you interrupt someone before he ending his own sentence, you cannot catch, you cannot understand the full meaning. So you don't interrupt. So they are, let's say, well educated, they are polite due to education, of course, but also due to the structure of the grammar. The verb is creative, you know. In the beginning was the word, and the word was in God, and so on. Actually, this is the vibration. Freud said that at the beginning, the word, the language and the magic was too it was the same thing at the beginning. Well, psychological bias, for example, distortion of the reality. For example, someone anorexic who see himself or herself obese or big. Someone who is depressive, and for him or for her, everything is dark, okay? And despite he has everything or she has everything on the paper, it's most of the stars, the star system, are neurotic. They have all on the paper, the most beautiful villas, the best food, everything they have, but they take drugs, they are depressed, most of them, and they are just neurotic. And it's an interesting question, because a lot of people in new idols and so on, people would like to be like them, but is not apparently a source of happiness. You know, but it's not you have everything on the paper, you have a beautiful wife, you have a beautiful career, you have a beautiful villa, blah, 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 materialistic, but also, and why you're not happy? You are not depressed, you are happy due to that. It's not like this, okay? If they feel depressed, they are depressed, okay? What's the reality? It's their reality, what they're feeling. Okay, that's the point. When I was a teenager, I invented this legend stating that this is a story of a rich king who thinks he is poor, and at the other part of the planet, at the other extremity, the poor fool who think is rich. Who is rich? The crazy guy. And the rich king, if he thinks and is definitely convinced he is poor for himself. That's why I say to you, we should say, this is my word and not the word. That difference. The psychosomatic bias, okay? Placebo, nocebo. Placebo in Latin means I heal, and nocebo means I harm myself, okay? This is the somatic dimension. What does it mean? It means that we have 30% of our drugs in the medicines are placebo. It means they are empty. There is nothing inside. That's the point. But it's healed because people are convinced inside. You know, in the Bible, Mark 10:52, it's written, "Go," say Jesus, "your faith has healed you." Your faith healed you. It's not Jesus who healed. Is the fact the faith of the person believing in the power of Jesus and the Holy Spirit, God, and so on, that activating this principle within. That's it. And this is extremely important. You're a believer or not is not the point. It's just the fact this is somatic. You know, the guy who is convinced to be sick, he will develop his own sickness. The guy who say, no, I'm not sick, he will struggle. I'll give you two personal examples. The best friend of my father, David, he was condemned. Okay, he had a cancer, and the doctors say, okay, go home, it's better, you still have 2 months, take it easy and so on. He said, no way, no way. He lived and he struggled 10 more years for which it was impossible. Same for Boris, a friend of mine. He was finishing his courses certificate of coach of life. He called me, he's always optimistic and so on. And he called me very dark voice and so on. He said, I have a cancer. It was in 2017. And I say, don't say, say to a minimum of person, otherwise they're going to see you as a sick person, and they will, let's say, maintain this. Okay, so struggle, continue like this, be positive, see yourself as healthy and so on. 9 months later, he was healthy. And he was completely out of the sickness. You know, it's like the poison, and even a medicine and even a vaccine and so on. Those who are convinced that there is something bad inside something, and they activate. And those who are completely out of this, they are optimistic, they're vibrating positively and so on. Honestly, they are not affected at all. You know, it's the same principle that some people say that 2 glasses per day of red wine is good for health. Okay, those who believe that, it will activate. Those who think it's bad for health to drink alcohol, for example, for religious, let's say, philosophy and so on, they will destroy their body because they are convinced in their subconscious that is bad. You know, it's the principle also of the French paradox. The French paradox, American scientists, they're just wondering how come French people with the old sauce, with the old alcohol and so on, why they don't have more health problem, a heart problem. And they just discovered the context, the fact that they are happy, they are enjoying when they eat. The assimilation is different. So I invite you to think about that. And also you have all this, the things in the food assimilation in the key 24, the energy product in 73, or also, you know, in the law of attraction as well, key 38. And I give 30 tips between the key 20 and 21, 30 keys, 30 tips to rise your vibration and to be happy. And in between 40 and 41, 30 more. So you have 60 once, and 65 if you read for free Sage Passage Utopia. Award-wise. You know, it's the principle also of Masaru Emoto. Masaru Emoto, if you give a bad intention to water and or rice, you say fuck off or I hate you and so on, it will be, the results with a microscope will be like destroying, like disharmonious pattern, okay? And if you use, for example, rice, it will become black. And if you give bad attention, like I love you, sweetheart, and all this kind of thing, it will vibrate like a wonderful harmonious pattern. Okay, we are made of 70% of water. So when you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, what the face, or I hate you and so on, you're vibrating that. If you say to yourself, thank you for God for, or whatever, nature for giving me the fact that I'm in good health and so on, you will vibrate positively and so on. You know, in martial art, somatic, also, when someone wants to break a brick, actually is the co-creation as well, but they are focusing only in the sensation that it is already, it's right already. They get through it. Okay, it's the same principle like when Qigong, the medicine, they are capable, and there is videos for that, to destroy a tumor. Okay, to destroy a tumor, thanks to the Qi, the Ki, the Prana, the Ether, the 5th elements. Negativity bias is the fact that some people are always complaining, tendency to see the half empty glass instead of the full glass. Mood bias, for example, someone pat on your back and you say, what's your problem? Okay. Or instead of seeing an encouragement, someone is, you smile at someone in the street, someone is reacting, saying, you are flirting with me, you are seducing me, or are you laughing at me, or do you know me? Like very aggressive. And it's just a question of mood, okay? Or if you are really upset, someone is, humming, and it pisses you off. And it can do exactly the same song 2 days later, but you did meditation, you did sport, and so on. You feel completely relaxed, and you will feel harmonious. Okay. Reasoning BS is when there is no connection between 2 points. It's like amalgamation, and when you do shortcuts, like all the murderers used to drink water, so water must be prohibited because it's dangerous. And or in order to fight against crime, we have banned the production of knives. Okay. Confirmation bias, what is it? It is when you look for what converge towards your thesis or your postulate. Okay, what does it mean? It means that you believe in something, you want something, so you are just looking for what is going in the same direction that your opinion. It's true, for example, for journalism. Okay, they want to demonstrate that in France, the suburbs, this is dangerous and so on. They will go and they will find the results. But on the other way around, if they want to show there is a lot of good organization, a lot of good things and so on, they will show it. Okay, it's up to see the half empty or half, but it's the same thing. I did the test when I was in China. I went to France, my hometown, and I only wait for dark, raining weather, showing very bad places and so on, and I showed to my office, and they said, no, it's not France, it's impossible. Then I came back 6 months later. It was sunny. I took the most beautiful pictures of a lake, of the in the town center and so on, and I showed 2 different faces, and it was the same place. So, and you have also it's true in science. Those who are they want to demonstrate, for example, scientists, that spirituality is bullshit, is stupid. Okay, they will show, they will demonstrate as they want. Same for spirituality. Those, they just want to believe, and they accept everything without any, let's say, sense, feeling of criticizing. Criticizing just means, crisis means to select into between the pro and the drawbacks. Okay, concordance bias is when you avoid all goes on the opposite side of what you're looking for. So it's the same principle, but on the other way around. Attention bias is when you think, because you have certain interests, of center of interest, you think that everybody think the same. Everybody love football, or on the other end, everybody hate football. It depends. If it's just because of your research on the internet, is the algorithm, because the algorithm feed you with what your history of what you're looking for, and or your cycle of friends. Most of the time, your friends are close to your aspiration, philosophy, and so on. Statu quo bias is when you are resistant to the change. Basically, we have always done the same. Why should would we change? It's true for religion. It's true in the job and so on. For the laws, okay. Knowing that in the new paradigm we will have to rethink out of the box. You cannot solve the problem with the same mind who created it. It's from Einstein. Well. What else? The memory bias. What is it? Is the fact that this is the Proust Madeleine in French literature. What is it? It is just the fact to reactivate through a memory souvenir. Like I remember the lambada, you know, the song, Brazilian song in 89. I was in Algeria at this moment. In 96, Un, Dos, Tres. It was in 91 year before. It was known I was in Canary Islands, and I was in love with Maria from Spain Island. And actually, you know, so it recreates a state of mind, a mindset, memories, and so on. My friend Nicole, she was born and she lived in Lebanon. When she used to hear firecrackers, it was weapons for her because she lived in the war. When I left to Shanghai, I was a new self, a new person, and because nobody was starting from scratch. And I succeeded by this. But when I came back to my hometown, people were perceiving me as no change, you see? So, in Netflix, there is a series, it's a testimony, it's a little bit dark, but it's Tell Me Who I Am. And it's the story of twins, and one of them had an accident and amnesia, complete amnesia. And he hid the fact he has been abused, and then he discovered it when he's 30 years old and so on. So it's all the pitch of a book I'm writing, which is Remembrance, is in French, but the pitch is a murderer who is drunk when he kills someone, and only the videos, the CCTV show him what he did, but for him is not himself. Okay, same for someone who is depressive and he lost the memory, and has an amnesia, and the family hide this, so he become positive. Then there is all this is about you know, the fact that we can recreate holograms, reproducing scenes thanks to energetic and emotional imprints. And also, actually, they do, some people are, let's say, traditionalists, they can have access to the Akashic records, and they have the access to truth. Okay, so this is the great disclosure. And on the other way around, some progressive, they are more in favor of neuronal surgical intervention, you know, surgical, like you cut, for example, some neurons for traumas, for, I don't know, rape or accident and so on. And also, this is true, it existed in state till 50s, previous century, lobotomization, the name is. And some of them, they are able to create new connection, neuronal connection, giving you, for example, for depressed people, happiness and so on, but some people abuse with, for example, traveling the whole world or having abilities to download 20 languages and so on and so forth. Well, actually, you know, even the fact that it's in the project of the book, I mean, it's a dystopia, of course, it's the fact to put the consciousness in a USB key for which you can re-envelope. But actually, this is almost true with Neuralink, with Tesla, Elon Musk, with Gilgamesh, Google project, and also a Russian guy started this in 2013, 10 years ago, and he think it will be possible in 2045. Okay, so it raises the question of memories. Am I myself if I've forgotten everything, and if I'm reject with memories that don't belong to me? The soul of the word, the Akashic memory, belongs to who? Okay, this is all this thinking about that. Okay, then the most important is the personality bias, which is the persona. Persona is the mask in Latin. The mask, the social, educative, cultural, religious, environmental, the conditionings. Okay, so for example, I can give you an example. Mary, is true for everybody, is a mysterious individual that no one really understands. Perhaps. Second, she's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a grandmother, she's a girlfriend, she's head of her department. 7, she's her boss, subordinate. 8, she's the good advisor to those close to her, relatives. 9, she's sometimes 5 5-year-old girl. 10, she's the eternal optimist with a good heart. 11, she's a kill joy when she's tired, and so on and so forth. It's not exotic, but she, all this embodies Mary, and we are all like this. That's why it's very important, know thyself and you will know the secret of God and the universe. Is extremely important to do this job of introspection, to know your own biases and to know how they affect you, your character, when it's come from, and also the interaction with people, to know the biases of other people as well, to adapt yourself to them. Okay, and we will see that also some advice to be able and capable to improve your communication. Well, I hope it will help you to shape the master key of to open up the door of the consciousness, love, and the field of consciousness up to you. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to the Dome and to home. Thank you for your attention and see you very soon.